Hi, I wanted to make this video about Writer's Reference to give you a little more information about LaunchPad and the new edition. So the ninth edition is coming out this month, and the LaunchPad is actually coming out November 10th, so it's forthcoming. A couple of things that I wanted to point out that are new are these how-tos that are going to offer these kind of step-by-step instructions and give students writing advice, on different kinds of skills, different kinds of writing assignments. There's 14 of them. So this is, a really kind of helpful approach. And as, we say, it's going beyond a Google search and how to become a better writer, a better peer reviewer. Writer's choice boxes on grammar and style. So it just allows students to practice critical thinking at the sentence level. And there's a new rhetorical approach that emphasizes decision making between, using first or third person, between active and passive voice, and so on. And so this is just, something that gives students kind of individualized instruction where they might need it. There's also new ways to navigate. So there's common student questions about writing written in plain language, and they appear on each of the tabs in the book. And they help students find answers to things like, how do I separate a source's ideas from my own? And what can I do if my writing is too wordy? So just kind of common language, common usage type questions, and they're put right there on the tabs. And then there's more help for research. So not only do we have the new MLA updates and Chicago updates, we have a new APA style paper as one of the examples. So of course, our handbook is always full of documentation and research help across the disciplines. Okay, so that's some of what's new. Some of what you know about a writer's reference, hasn't changed. The fact that it's very flexible, easy for students to find things with the tabs. The writing guides are still there. So these little kind of instructional pieces are in Writer's Reference, and they're going to stay in the ninth edition. We have different formats, whether it's ebook or LaunchPad that you're looking for. There's different versions of a Writer's Reference, always has been. So, for example, there's one with exercises, one with literature, one with ESL Helpful Multilingual Writers. So just a little bit about the book. And then as far as LaunchPad goes, I'm going into our current edition of Writer's Reference to show you LaunchPad, because the new edition, the ninth edition, won't have its LaunchPad until November 10th. So here I'll just click on LaunchPad and once I click on it, it will take me to my course. So just a quick bit about how to create a course. I'm going to delete what I have here and quickly create a course. Before I do, I want to just call out a couple of things. Up here is my dashboard. So this switch create courses, this always serves as my dashboard button if I ever want to get back to this area in particular. Manage profile, you can do things like change your password and things like that. Over here, this help button, this will take you to basically our community site. And this is where you can get more information about LaunchPad or any number of things. So if you click on instructors, and then you have this search box that'll come up, this blue search box, where you can basically type in anything you want and it will comb our database. Or if you want something very directed, you can go over to LaunchPad, and there's plenty of information here. There's videos, there are step-by-step screenshots and things of that nature, from how to get started on up to more advanced things like creating a quiz and so forth. As far as tech support and things like that, we have this little phone icon. You can always call us. So enough about that. Back to LaunchPad. So when you create a course, you click on Create Course. Then you basically verify this is LaunchPad for Writer's Reference. Yes, hit Next. If you have an existing course that you want to copy, let's say that you used LaunchPad last fall in 2016 and you liked your course, you would say yes if you wanted to copy that course and bring it over into this fall. But for demonstration purposes, if you've never used it before and you don't have an existing course to copy, you would hit no and next. Here's where you would put in your course description. We have default information, LaunchPad for writer's reference, but this is something your students are going to be seeing. So you might want to put something like, English, I'm being very generic here, 101, Professor Vasquez, Monday, Wednesday, 9 to 10. And make sure that everything's right here. Okay, so you can put in your course number, your section number, it's optional, your name, okay, your school, this will have your specific school in here, and then make sure your academic term is right, and then most importantly your time zone, because if you have due dates, you want them to be, of course, in the right time zone. And then I'm going to hit create. And here's my class. So I have my course description here, so that's what students are going to see, and I have my unique URL, which is here, and what makes it unique is the 7 digits at the end of the URL. That's the link that I'm going to be giving my students. My course ID is also down here. The 7 digits matches the 7 digits at the end of the URL. As far as activating, so right now this class is closed. You can see in the red here, there's 0 students. It hasn't been open for enrollment. Well, if I activate the course, it'll be open for enrollment and students can start registering. So if I click activate, it will activate my course and make it open for enrollment. Right away, I get this message that says, basically, dear students, here is my course. This is a template letter that has all of your information in it. So it has your unique URL. It has a little video on how to register in LaunchPad. It also has a PDF that students can reference as they register. And then most importantly, it has our tech support line. So if students are having any troubles, they can call right away if they have login issues. So this letter is always going to stay on your dashboard. So it's right here in view activation message. So if you ever need to reference it, you absolutely can. So at any point, if you want to edit your course, you can click edit or delete. You can branch a course. So let's say that this was actually, a quarter or a semester where you're teaching 3 different courses. They all happen to be the same course. So in that case, what I would do here is I would deactivate this course because this is going to serve as my master course. I would then go in, I'd edit it and say master course. Okay, and take out the time. Okay, so this would be my master course. So this is only in the case that you have more than one of the same course. I don't want to belabor it too much, but with a master course, we never activate it because we're not teaching out of it. It serves as a template course that you can build all of your branch courses out of. So the idea is that if you have 3 courses, you're not having to create 3 courses and then assign 3 different groups of assignments for each of the courses. You're having to, do it once, and then all of that work that you do in your master course flows into those 3 courses. So what I'll do is quickly make the branches off of the master course, and I'll just say section 1 and create. And so I'll do this 3 times, and I'll make this section 2 and create, and section 3. And for each of your sections, you would put in all of the relevant information under the course number and section number and things like that to make them distinguishable. So I have section 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, each of these sections that I branched off the master, they all have different URLs, so different numbers at the end, which makes them all distinguishable from each other. They're all different, so each section gets a different course URL. So this is in the case that you have 3 of the same type of course. So let's say that it's, in my generic case here, English 101. So I would go in and I would activate each of these courses and open them up for registration. Again, I would not activate my master course. That's just to build my template, all of my assignments. Anything that I do in this master course is going to flow into here and basically save me time. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete everything that I've done here. I just wanted to show you that for demonstration purposes. But getting back into this course, I'm just going to click on it and show you what's in LaunchPad for a writer's reference. This welcome page is really helpful. It basically tells you what is in writer's reference LaunchPad. So first it starts out with the ebook. So all of this area over here on the left, this is comprised of the handbook content. So it's all ebook content. There are practice exercises, so more than 100 exercise sets, which are auto-scored and based on the handbook. Learning curve, which is adaptive quizzing, writing prompts called As You Write that help students apply the lessons of the handbook. Easy assign functionality, absolutely everything is basically assignable on the left-hand side over here, and then a grade book. So I'll go over each of these items, and just to give you general navigation, this is your home button. This is going to take you back to this area that you're looking at here, and I'll just activate this to get this out of the way. No more yellow bar. Okay, so once I've activated it, it'll take away that yellow bar and make the visibility a little bit more easy. Okay, so this is my home button, and as you can see, I clicked on the welcome. I can click on anything over here to bring it up into the main screen. And as far as assignments go, this is really important. What you're going to want to do is basically make folders for your assignments, and then you can add to those folders. So some people do it by week, some people do it by assignment, some people do it by theme. So I'm going to do it by week and just say week 1. And that will basically act as an assignment folder. And so when I go to assign any sort of content item, it will be there. So if I want to, let's say, assign these grammar diagnostics, or just one of these grammar diagnostics, I'm going to hover over options and assign. And then when I hit this drop down, I'll choose week 1, and I'll choose the date. All right, and it's visible to students. It's worth 5 points. Okay, that looks good. I'll hit assign. And so immediately this says to do, and it'll show up in my gradebook. So I'll quickly reference my gradebook. There it is. All right, so it showed up in my gradebook. And it also will show up in the assignment center. So I'll go back to assignments in the upper left area. And there it is in week 1. 5 points to do October 31st is my sentence grammar diagnostic pretest. Okay, great. So that's how you assign a content item. And then as far as navigating the ebook, this really looks like the print book itself. So it follows the same sort of chronological organization. So same kind of table of contents. And if you want to search for something, all you have to do is enter a search term to get started. So I could say comma splice. And okay, I could also say parallelism. Okay, and I'll get more information about parallelism. So you can search for items, or you can use the good old-fashioned table of contents to look for what you're seeking. I also want to point out that there is a multilingual menu. So basically, this is something for multilingual writers, and this is just something helpful that you may not have noticed unless I pointed it out. Revision symbols that you'll find in the back of the book mirror revision symbols right here, of course. So there's different areas, but this mostly mirrors the print book itself. And as far as some of the punctuation and mechanics and some of the grammar exercises, you'll find many of those here. And also in the grammar area. So you can see that if you go into one of the areas, you're going to find exercises and learning curve. And so I'll click on exercises. And if you want to look through a particular exercise, of course you can look through it. And if you're happy with it, if it's something that you'd like to assign, you just click options, assign, and I'll say this will go into week 1. If you haven't created an assignment folder, it'll ask you, basically force you to create a new one, but since I have that week 1 ready, I'm gonna use that. I'll choose my date and I'll make this 10 points and assign. So that'll go into my week 1 assignment. And the learning curve exercises. So this is adaptive quizzing. It's game-like. It's really actually kind of fun for students. And so I'll show you learning curve quickly. So this is what a student will encounter when they go into a learning curve exercise. So first of all, they're trying to fill up this points bar. And it says it's out of 450 points. Of course, you can assign this for 5 points. The 450 is just a target score, so it's a pass or fail exercise, and this represents basically what they need to do to finish the activity. So if they finish the activity, they'll get the 5 points or what have you that they assign. So I don't want you to think this is worth 450 points. It's just how many points this activity is going to be worth as a target score. Now you can change the target score if you want them to get more questions or fewer questions. So that's something you can also change. So this particular question is worth 15 points, and I want to point out that if a student doesn't understand the question or they're not quite sure of the answer, they can read the ebook on this particular topic. So I'll click on ebook, and once they read through, if they're still not sure, they can get a hint. They'll get partial points, but they still, can move on. If they don't know the answer, they can hit show answer. They will get the answer, but they won't get any points. And so it'll give them that immediate feedback and that information, but it's going to make it harder for them to get up to that 450 points. So for students that are trying to game the system and guess, they're going to quickly realize that it's more efficient to actually read the information and move on. So choose a sentence that shows the correct use of commas. If there was one thing Hugo loved most in the world, it was cooking. That looks good. All right, I got my 15 points. So at this point, I can take a break and it will land right back here if the student has to go on to another class or has work or what have you. So that is learning curve. And I think that's probably one of the most, I would say, effective exercise tools that we have because it is adaptive and it is fun for students. They really get a lot out of it. So that is where you'll find our exercises are in the punctuation, mechanics, and grammar areas. There are also exercises in research and in different areas. So that is just a very, very quick introduction, I should say, to LaunchPad. There are some other things in here that you will probably become more acquainted with. So the instructor console is just an area where you can kind of set up your gradebook preferences. You can see the students that have enrolled in your class. You can change the settings. So if there's anything you want to change, the title of your course, what have you, you can do that there. And then this resources tab, I think this is really useful. This will show you everything that we have. So if you go into content by type, this is the most useful area to search for content. It's going to basically show you everything that is in LaunchPad. So for example, if you wanted to see a video, you could say, oh, okay, there's 38, and it'll give you a full menu when you click on it. If you're interested in seeing all the learning curves, you could click on learning curve and it will show you everything that we have. So this is a really organized way of viewing all of the content in LaunchPad. And so I went over the home button, the assignment center, the gradebook, the instructor console, resources. You can also preview anything as a student. So if you click on this button, you can see it from the student's view. So as you start assigning things, it's kind of a nice feature. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask us. We're very happy to help, and have a great term ahead.